Now we are starting a live stream to YouTube. You see the icon just changed? There it goes. So you could log on to YouTube yourselves and you can watch this and you can hear the audio and you'll see me streaming my content. Let me just see, where is this? There it is. Let me see if I can go to KLIK Boks. That was an earlier stream. And let's just go back to the channel. Okay, so we are live on YouTube. And you see it says live now. Again, maybe one of you or some of you are already on there and you're watching this. It may buffer because I'm using all of the available bandwidth, as well as, you know, everybody who's staying home doing video calls.
Do you have that address, Costa? I want to pull it up on my tablet while we're doing the.
Let me do this. Let me copy it and let me paste it in here into the chat. Where's the chat? Oh, come on. Chat, there it is. And I need my keyboard back. Now you guys get to see behind the curtain here. Okay, so there it is. Can you guys see that in the Zoom group chat?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, so you can go ahead and log on there, and you can view this. Now, you know, you might say, well, wait a second, you know, what exactly is happening here? What's happening is I have a camcorder connected, and that camcorder has an HDMI output, and it's feeding that signal into the hub, and the hub is encoding it and streaming it to YouTube. Unfortunately, you're going to have to mute the audio or mute your mic. That signal into the hub, and the hub is encoding it and streaming it to YouTube. That's coming from one of the viewers that's on this call.
Yeah, sorry, that was me, guys. Sorry about that.
Okay, no worries, no worries. Okay, so great, you've got that image coming through, and just for the sake of clarity here, I'm going to minimize that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to log into the hub, and I'm going to stream something from the laptop. Now, the hub, bear with me for a moment here, and I'll do the same thing from the desktop. Let me just move that. And now the desktop, of course, as soon as I start streaming, in fact, I'll do it right now. I'll just stop that, and I'll just go to the KLIK Boks Hub demo, and I'll select, and then I'll start sharing content from this screen. And let's make it interesting content. So let's just put up that presentation that we were looking at earlier. Okay.
And Costa, again, the ability to create that YouTube link, you were able to do that through the stick, or did you switch over to the hub?
It's the hub. It's the hub. Yeah.
Okay.
So the hub is the only one that does the streaming. And so now look at what we got. We've got me as, think of this in a distance learning environment now, right now, where teachers cannot go and students cannot go to school. Now, you guys have been reading over the weekend, if you read about the Zoom bombing, and if you especially read the content where they were saying that Zoom and similar applications can be hacked, and they can expose minors' images, which are, it's against the law. Okay, so there's a big hammer coming down on them. This is strictly one way. We are streaming to YouTube. People can view it. Kids can log in, they can have parental supervision, whatever. By the way, not only can you do that and view, but you can actually, if you can message me right now through the messaging app that's built into the YouTube live stream, and I, as the teacher, can respond to that. So you're seeing my video, and now you're seeing my lesson. Oh, and you say, that remote's in the way. Okay, well, let's drag it out of the way, and let's minimize it. Okay, so now you've got these two pieces of content, right? And actually, I can go ahead and I can add additional content. Let's go to this laptop here, and what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, in today's lesson, we're also going to learn about these current affairs, and we're gonna look at this news article. Now, I have a web page here. I've got my PowerPoint up there. I've got my live video. Now, this already is head and shoulders above anything that you can do with Zoom or Teams or anybody else. But guess what? If I wanted to add somebody in via Zoom, I could certainly do it, because we're already streaming over here. I can, well, everybody's got their, except Becky. Becky has a background, or maybe that's a camera view or whatever, but there's no reason why I couldn't include Becky in this conversation, right? Or even include the messaging. I mean, you can include any of that content if you want to. But the point of it is, this is the safest way and the easiest way to conduct a distance learning. You're getting the audio and the video. Now, check this out. I'm going to maximize this piece of content. I just got a mouse connected to the hub, okay? I maximize the content. You still hear my voice. You don't see my video, but you still hear my voice. Pretty cool, right? Yeah, it is. I'll answer my own questions. Yep. I'll answer my own rhetorical questions. How about that? So now I say, well, I've got a document camera over here, and I'd like to show you some content from some other device. Here, hold on a second. Oops. Bear with me. I've lost control. So what I can do is I can go back to this view. Check this out. I've got this other little camera here. You can see me holding it. So now I've injected, let's say, a document camera. This is not an actual document camera. This is just a little cheapy, sports cam type of thing, like a cheap GoPro thing. But that's connected. So now I've got two live video streams, and they're going through YouTube. So in an education environment, I could be showing, a sample, whatever it is, a physical sample of something, or a book, or, a drawing, as they do use in classrooms. I mean, it's a common thing. I can be speaking as the teacher. I can be speaking to my audience, to my pupils. I could be standing at a whiteboard and drawing on the whiteboard or blackboard or whatever. So you're getting that experience, and plus you're also getting content. And at the moment, I'm just switching it in manually, but you can also have it so that before you start this whole session, you can put it into what we call moderator mode, like conference mode, like I showed you earlier, and you can have on-screen control of the content and the switching. So, do you have the rest of the features? Yes, of course. You still got all the rest of the features that I demoed. You've got the built-in annotation. So let me show you built-in annotation that's built right into this particular device. So you can actually grab the pen, choose the color, and now you can annotate over whatever. Okay? Pretty cool.
Hey, Costa, we're still on, I don't know what screen you're on, but we're still on the KLIK Wizard Setup app is the screen that we're currently seeing. So I didn't know if you were doing anything on a separate screen or not.
Oh, I was doing it on the YouTube stream.
Got it.
Sorry, I forgot. I forgot not all of you were on that YouTube stream, right? Okay, sorry about that. Let me just get rid of this. Here. I'm full screen on this, and I need to end the show. Okay, so is that better? You can see here.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So but if you went back to the YouTube page, it's all very convoluted because of my demo setup here. But the point is, hold on, let me just see here. Boks live stream. For those of you who don't have the live stream, aren't logged into the live stream, you can see it here. And so you can see, when I'm talking about annotation, I'm talking about annotation right on the hub. See that? In case anyone's watching from YouTube, we're going to restart the Zoom session. Unfortunately, we're on this free account at the moment, and it keeps timing out at 40 minutes. And I just don't want to have to switch over to the paid account and then have to reissue all the invitations for everyone to rejoin. I see Becky and Vance are on YouTube. Big shout out to Becky and Vance on YouTube. And if you are on YouTube, why don't you go ahead and message me through the chat on YouTube. Go ahead and type something in there, and then we'll communicate. There you are. Hey, hi, I'm Vance. The Zoom meeting ended. Yes, sorry. I'm still watching on YouTube, and I think that's awesome. So you're watching, you're listening. Let's go back to the default view so we can have this. So I'll just say, oh, I need the keyboard back. Hello, everyone. Okay. So yeah. So I'm back in, and I don't know if you guys are going to be joining me back on Zoom because it's just the same link as you used before. That link is still active. The Zoom session has been restarted, so we should be live through Zoom, as well as, let me just double check and make sure that that's the case. Let's see here. Okay, there we are. Okay, someone's here.
Awesome. Yep, I'm here. I'm letting everyone know to get back in.
Awesome. Sorry about that. You know, I should have done this before. I just didn't want to reissue all the invitations because I've got a bunch of meetings booked to switch over to the paid account. So we're still on my personal free account at the moment, and by the end of the day, I will switch everything over, the whole calendar thing, to do it with the paid business account, so that we don't have this issue anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm looking. It looks like we got everyone back here on the Zoom. Yeah,
awesome.
We got everyone back on. So
awesome. So you can see. I'll leave the YouTube stream active on my screen as well. So if someone doesn't want to log in there, you can see what's happening on YouTube remotely. Of course, you guys know about the chat facility here. So again, I'm gonna give you a couple of use cases that are, have got a lot of people excited and have been keeping me run off my feet this last week or so. Education is clearly a huge one, and whether you're talking higher ed or you're talking K-12, everybody in education needs something to help them, deliver their material. The thing about Zoom, as I mentioned earlier, and Teams and all those products, kids have been having their mics open, there's noise, people can jump in without authorization, and all they need is the meeting code. Like if you had the meeting code right now, if somebody gave the meeting code to someone else, they could just jump on and they could put whatever they like up on the screen, okay? So that is a problem, and it's a big problem, to be honest. So in this case, what you're doing is you're streaming outward. So education's a big one. Another one that is, there's a tremendous amount of interest right now is worship. Obviously, you can't have a church service, can't have people there. So in that environment, if you think about, let's say I'm the pastor, I'm giving my sermon, maybe I can put up my PowerPoint with today's topic, I can put up lyrics for the hymns, whatever the case may be. I can make myself full screen again. I can do that myself. I can literally have a laptop with my presentation, and I can have a camera pointed at me, and I don't even need a sound operator. And the camera picks up audio and video. If you've got a larger church where they've got a console, mixing console, let's say, put the camera next to the sound operator. That sound operator could then do maybe some zooming and panning. and they could also be doing the switching for the hub. And they can switch to full screen, they can switch to, you know, the PowerPoint presentation, and they can take a feed out of the console, go through a DI box, and go right into the camera, so you've got pristine audio, right? Multi-channel or multi-track audio. So those are huge applications. The fact that you can stream is just the icing on the cake, because even after all this turmoil is over, there's still a need for wireless screen sharing, and there's still a need for split screen, and there's still a need for video, audio and video, but it's not just a pass-through. You can see, if this were just a pass-through, you'd be able to see only my full screen video or split screen content. But you see that the video is being processed. It's going in, it's being processed, and it's being mixed with the rest of the content, so we can have 2 or 3 pieces of content active at a time. One more thing I'm going to show you here, which is really, really cool, is the fact that we've got this USB back channel, or touchback if we want to call it that. Now, when I move my cursor, you notice there's another cursor chasing it. Okay, there's a black one that leads and a white one that's chasing it. The black one is the one for the mouse that's connected to the hub. This is it. It's a little wireless mouse. It's a super cheap wireless mouse. Okay, and the dongle is plugged into the hub. Now, when the mouse is plugged into the hub, I can actually control the computer that is streaming. So, you see what I'm doing? I'm using the mouse that's connected to the hub to control the computer that is streaming. That's a big deal. And that is a really big deal because, bear with me, this is a Rube Goldberg setup I've got going here today, but it's necessary. Okay, so now I've got another piece of content, right, coming from my desktop computer. God knows how many times we're streaming to and from YouTube. See, it's going to go into video feedback. But now, again, I pick up this mouse that is connected to the hub, and I can go over here, and guess what? I can control this computer. I can go to a different tab on this computer. And now I can switch, and I can go over here, and I can control this computer. Now, isn't that cool? That's cool. And if...
Oh, I haven't seen anything like that.
Yeah, and if instead of the mouse, if we were using a touch screen, we could actually go to the touch screen and just touch for all of that functionality, and, you know, go from this active content. You see how it gets that blue border when it's active, and we can go to this active content. Now, I can choose to minimize or maximize this screen or turn it off, whatever, or I can use my remote to go in here. But it gets better. And it gets better because if I've got a wireless keyboard and mouse, then I can type in AWA reps, and hey, oh, I typed in WA reps, Washington reps. Sorry, but anyhow, the point, you guys get the point, right? The point is that you have the ability to share a complete wireless desktop. So let me give you an example, a use case. Let's say you're outfitting this beautiful meeting room, and it's got a lectern where people will go and they'll stand to make their presentations, and it's all beautiful and wonderful. Guess what? Put one of these keyboards there with a mouse, and next time somebody comes up to present, they can leave their laptop right where it is, because they can come up and control their laptop remotely, because that functionality is built in. Now, that works with Windows and Mac when using our app. It does not work with Miracast or AirPlay. That functionality isn't built into those protocols. But with our app, it is built in, and it is an amazing feature. By the way, that this touchback control, we have that on every model: the Hub, the Pro, the Plus, and the Stick. So with the Stick, you know, there's a little cable that comes with it that, you know, you plug into USB for power, and then it's got a micro USB at the other end that you plug into the stick itself, and it's also got another lead for the place where you plug in the USB dongle for that control. So another important function. Okay, so I mean, we've jumped around a lot, and you know, I've thrown a lot of stuff at you. Are there any questions? Does anybody have any questions that have not been addressed, or that you think you'd like an answer to, or you'd like to know about? Anybody?
Yeah, so, team, I guess, I know this is a lot to take in. Believe me, we have ample time. We have until the end of April where we can circle back. But anything that comes to mind now, again, you can ask via the live YouTube chat or punch in on the Zoom or just unmute and feel free to ask. But I want to see if anyone has any immediate questions or anything for Costa before we get off.
Yeah, I got a question. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, that's great. Yeah, so my question is regarding the file sharing feature.
Mm-hmm.
Remember how you said you could have a live meeting and then bam, instantly share files, right?
Yes, correct.
Now, when I want to have a meeting and share these files, is there a limit to the size or volume of the files that I share instantly over the Wi-Fi signal?
No and no.
Oh, that's great. And that answers my question.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah. So you can just open up the file share box, and you can drag stuff in there, drop it in there, and you can just keep sharing whatever you like. I mean, you know, I guess if you decided that you were going to share your whole hard drive with somebody else, you know, maybe at some point the network might slow down a bit because, you know, it's all over the local area network.
Under a terabyte should be good, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What about from a Wi-Fi perspective? Is there a minimum download upload speed that we could test to make sure that it's optimized and that the unit will function correctly?
Sure, very good question.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that too, because typically in our market, 75 meg seems to be kind of the standard, but there are some areas where people use economical, meaning that they're being supplied 30 meg.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, to ensure when we're presenting to a dealer, we set the precedence that, hey, you know, X number of megabyte is the minimum requirement. So
right. So let's unpack that for a second, because I think there's a couple of different questions in there. So first off, let's talk about the local area network, and let's talk about the Wi-Fi. Okay. So for example, this laptop is on Wi-Fi. It is connecting to our Wi-Fi router. And then the Wi-Fi router is actually hardwired to the hub, and in this case the Pro. I've got a Pro connected here as well. So if I'm streaming from this to the hub, I'm using the local Wi-Fi, and the local Wi-Fi happens to be 802.11ac. So, you know, it's not the fastest, but it is plenty fast. What I need to stream you know, if I was going to stream like a video, I need about 22 megabits per second. That's what I need on Wi-Fi. Okay. If you have less than that, then you may not get. You may drop frames if you have lower speed capability than that. And as we know, Wi-Fi, it's a function not only of signal strength. I mean, you know, but signal strength translates into distance. So the further away I am, the lower the power, the less throughput that I have on Wi-Fi. So that's one question, right? So you need to have, you know, decent Wi-Fi. For the most part, you're fine. The second part of the question, though, is what if your KLIK is connected, not hardwired, but connected via Wi-Fi to your network, okay? What if it's connected via Wi-Fi, as is the case with the KLIK stick? Well, now you have this additional link, so signal strength is extremely important if you're connecting the KLIK box or the KLIK stick to your network via Wi-Fi. I can't give you a number right off the top of my head, but there are lots of apps out there, even free apps, that'll show you channel density and signal strength. And it'll vary, and there'll be some channels that are going to be overcrowded, etc. It's always important to look at the environment when you first set up the KLIK. Okay, but that's a one-time thing. You're going to set it up, and I advise, as I said earlier, on all the models that have Ethernet connections, that you use the Ethernet connection to connect it to the network. Okay, that's 2 questions. Let's go to the. Sorry. Earlier, on all the models that have Ethernet connections, that you use.
Sorry about that.
Right. So now let's go to the 3rd question, and the 3rd question is, how much internet bandwidth do I need in order to stream to YouTube? Okay. So that's a good question. You probably only need about 25 megabits per second sustained. Now, you can choose, and remember, the only model that does this is the hub, but you can choose on the hub whether you want to stream at 720p or 1080p. Okay, those are the only 2 choices you have. And then you can choose low bit rate, medium bit rate, and high bit rate. And so those numbers, those settings are going to determine what you deliver and how much bandwidth you need. So if you're in a low bandwidth internet connection, when I say low, I mean 25 or 30 megabits, then you should select 720p and select maybe a low bit rate. If you're not getting the quality that you want, then maybe go to a slightly higher bit rate and see how that is affected by your internet access speed. But those are 3 separate considerations. How much Wi-Fi signal strength have I got for my clients to connect to the network? Number 2, am I connecting from my router wired or wireless to the KLIK? And if I'm connecting wireless, do I have sufficient signal strength, and do I have sufficiently clear channel that I've selected? And then number 3, what is my internet access speed? Does that address the question?
I believe it does. I guess if you could break it down in a real world scenario, or I guess I'll give you a scenario and then kind of, help me visualize this in my mind. So, for example, if we're in a conference room, right, and we have the KLIK Pro hooked up to said TV to have the larger display and everything else, but the communication from that standpoint isn't hardwired in, but it's communicating to an access point that's within the vicinity of that is sufficient for it to work. Or to your point, we could always home run, which would be ideal, and have the hardline connection if there's a capability to go from conference room back to the rack where the router, modem, and everything else is. Am I understanding that?
Yes, exactly. So look, I mean, I would say that probably half of our customers, although I never know, because by the time the integrator installs it and the user, gets it, etc., we never really know, except when we have a support call. But I'd say half use wired and the other half use wireless. And don't forget, the stick is wireless only. And we've got a pretty robust support setup, and we don't. I mean, we'd never hear from people about complaints about too low signal strength or whatever. So, the typical support calls or support inquiries that we get are just configuration questions that people have. They don't know, or they don't know how their network is configured and whether it'll work, or whatever, the various questions, but not so much signal strength questions. But again, wired is better where possible.
Becky had a question, Costa. She's having a problem with her audio, but warranty on the hardware. Is it 3, 5? Does it vary by unit? So what warranties come with?
Everything comes with a 3-year warranty. Everything, even the stick. So yeah. And let's just speak to the warranty and whatever. I mean, we've had enough experience now that we know what fails and what doesn't fail. What doesn't fail is the hardware. What has failed, what did fail in the original round, were some power supplies. And we had, these are all 5-volt power supplies, and the original model had a 1-amp power supply. And we had a bunch of failures, and it was really frustrating, because, I mean, they happened a year, 2 years in. I think it was 2 years in, they failed. And it's kind of like a drag, you know, you got the thing for 2 years. Anyhow, when we figured it out, what I did was I sourced, we don't build the power supplies, of course, but I sourced through our contract manufacturer a new 2-amp power supply, and and also switched over from a fixed wire to a barrel jack to USB connector power supply and cable. And so what that did was it gave us, and we'll freely replace. I don't care when you bought it. If you need a new power supply, you get a new power supply, and for free and with 2-day shipping. Because I'm not interested in having people, you know, after they've spent their money to have, you know, be let down by the power supply. But this new arrangement, the new power supply and the cable, also has an additional benefit, and that is you can actually power it from the USB port on the display. So let's say you buy a Plus, and you go to put it on a display, and there's no outlet behind there. No problem. Just plug it into the USB port on the display. So added benefit. Kind of a failure led us to a better solution and a feature that was added. Any other questions?
Yeah, no, another thing that came up regarding the Connect unit. So obviously, to view what's connected to that transmitter, you can utilize either the stick, the Plus, or the Pro as the receiver, if you will, to view what's being transmitted over that Connect hub. And then I know this is kind of out of the box thinking, but we all encounter it. Is there any restrictions or limitations to devices? Like, meaning if a dealer wanted to take a cable box, for example, and he bought the KLIK Connect and he bought the KLIK stick and wanted to transmit, you know, his cable box wirelessly, has that been tested? Is that an option? I know there's certain HDCP encryptions that may prevent it, but has that been tried? Not?
You know, honestly, no cable box. I haven't tried it. I haven't even thought about it, to be honest, although I know that the chipset supports HDCP. I haven't personally done it. I'm sure engineering's done it, but...
And being honest, that'd be a great question if you can get back to us, because in our market, wireless HDMI transmission is always a challenge because all of them utilize RF technology, where obviously our solution utilizes network. It's a lot easier for an integrator to get a solid outdoor network. And, you know, with the price point of, I believe the Connect you said was $299.
$249.
$249. So for $250, so basically for $400, an integrator could sell a client a Connect and a KLIK stick and be able to wirelessly transmit his cable box for that outdoor scenario, outdoor solution, or even internal. That would be huge. So I guess if you could have your engineers test that and see, I mean, again, it's not going to be a selling point for us, but just another solution to solve an issue that comes about in our area. And again, integrators understand it's not going to pass through 4K, it's not going to pass through 1080. But again, if it transmits audio and video wirelessly, I think this is another avenue that we can even get into CI guys' hands to use.
It's interesting. I mean, again, I want to be cautious about, you know, pursuing that application because we never really, you know, thought about that or engineered it that way. Now we do have on the Connect, we have a switch, and maybe you can see it here. We have a switch that allows you to switch from video mode to presentation mode. And the difference between the two modes is that when you switch to video mode, you buffer. So remember we were talking about buffering earlier? Well, this product does allow some measure of buffering so that we can get better throughput and less drop frames. But that said, I want to be cautious. I'd like to test it myself and then just see what the performance is and talk to engineering and just see what if anything they know about it for that purpose. But
we would definitely want to do it as a primary, but maybe as a secondary or one-off, you know, application.
I suffer from the same affliction as you, which is always thinking about how can I, where else can I use this? I love it.
Right, right.
I love it. I love it. It's awesome. Yeah. Any other questions? Anyone?
Yeah, I had a question on the possibly the KLIK stick. Say we were going out to different places and want to do our presentations, but then we go in and we can't hook up our computers or whatever to their monitors or whatever. Can we use the stick and quickly get on their monitors and present?
Okay, so let's talk about that really quickly, because that's a really, really good point. And if you'll remember when I was talking about the demo kit, I said we included in the demo kit, we included the a router. And we included the router because I said you shouldn't ever go out to do a demo without having your own network there. Well, it goes a little bit beyond that. One of the things that's important to know is that by connecting the, okay, let me rewind. The range from your computer, if you're broadcasting directly to the stick, is fairly limited. Because, I mean, your computer is trying to connect to an access point. If you're making a peer-to-peer connection to it, it sees the KLIK as a soft, what we call a soft access point. Well, the KLIK doesn't have a powerful radio in it. Not the stick, not the plus, not the pro. Even the hotspot function in the hub is better, but it's not a full-blown access point, right? But especially in the smaller models and the earlier models. So your range is going to be limited. And if you get to a 10, 15 feet, you may find that you're dropping a lot of frames and you're getting unstable performance. So it's not for that purpose. So let me give you a different scenario. And I think I have a slide here. Yeah, here it is. So if you can see this slide, anyone? Yeah. Am I sharing my screen on Zoom?
No.
No. Okay. Let me share my screen here, just so you can see this slide. Okay. So there's a slide in here, and we'll eventually get to this slide as well in the presentation. But there's a slide here that says having a proper demo setup. And look at what this demo setup consists of. It's in fact, kind of exactly what the demo kit is. So you have this demo Wi-Fi router. In this particular case, this is a TP-Link router that sells for about $20. I bought many of them, sent them out as demo kits and whatnot. The $20 demo router has a WAN connection, a wide area network connection. So if you were in a location where you had an Ethernet connection, you could actually connect it and then it would have internet access as well. But then it's got Wi-Fi for you to connect, say, a stick, and it's also got a LAN connection it's got 4 ports on the LAN connection for connection of any hardware devices like the Pro, the Plus, or the Hub. Now, if I were to go out and do if I were to take a stick with me, let's say in the scenario that you were talking about, to go and do presentations, I would have this router sitting right next to the stick. I'd plug the stick into the display and I'd have that router. They would be pre-paired to work together, but now your laptop isn't looking for an anemic signal coming from the stick to use as its soft AP. It would be actually connecting to a powerful access point. And that access point, because of its proximity to the stick, would give the stick more than ample signal. Hallelujah. It works great. But you see, one of the key considerations when we were designing these products was, how much networking do we put into the product? And I made the decision early on, we didn't want to put any networking into the product. We don't want you to have to rely on our product, because you notice how stuff changes all the time in networking. We just want to be a client. We just want to sit on that network. We don't want to try to serve up any access, internet access, network access, or even this peer-to-peer connection. So while the peer-to-peer connection is strong enough in a controlled environment, I would be reluctant to take it to a place that I don't know, and I don't know what channel I'm going to be on, and I don't know what the local environment's going to be like. I'd rather just take my $20 demo router with me, and if the customer says, what's this for? Just say, oh, it's part of my presentation system. That's it. Does that make sense?
Yep, Ted, did you get your answer? So yes,
Yes, it is.
All right, perfect.
Yeah, so what I was thinking, like, was trying to sell this to somebody that just does a lot of traveling, going into different places so they can display their presentation wherever they go easily. So I guess that's really not what it's for.
And if that individual, well, yeah, so if you're a dealer, if you sold one to a dealer and he wants to travel with it, he absolutely, and it's the click stick, wherever he goes, he's going to need to put that on some type of network. But for you as you know, our team, as the rep, I'll talk with Costa offline to see how many of these kits we can get for us. Obviously we have we're all spread out throughout the Midwest, so to have one for each of us to utilize is probably gonna be a little challenging. So, but Costa, you and I can talk about that offline.
Yeah, and the thing is, you find that you can. So I'll tell you from my own personal experience. So when we bring on an integrator, I say to all of our salespeople, I insist that they sit through a training session. I just insist. We don't want their money if they're going to get the product and have a negative experience because nobody showed them how to use it, right? And so that is your first line of defense. So when you start pitching people, one of our other reps, what they did was they sent out an email just about KLIK to all of their dealers. And they said, look, it does this, it does that, it does that. We really think if you're interested, we'd like to get you in on a session. And here's the calendar to book, or call us to book, whatever. And when they come to us, they get a first-hand explanation. Like the question, Ted, that you asked, if you hadn't asked the question and I hadn't addressed the question, who knows? Maybe you would have sold a click stick to somebody who's going to take it out on the road. They go, I go everywhere all the time. I want to use it in that way and whatever. And they'll go out and they'll plug it in and they'll be disappointed. That's not what we want, and that's not what you want. So, and I think once we get through this first round of questions and we successfully educate those dealers, I think that puts us in a good spot. Because, we emphasize that point on our website, we emphasize it in the support section, in the manuals, everywhere. But again, I'm going to use metrics like returns. We have never had a single click stick ever returned, ever. Now, either we got lucky or people, heeded the advice and they said, oh, this is the way you deploy it. But, this $20 router solution, we've solved a lot of problems for customers with the $20 router solution. And I'd like to just take a moment to give you one more example. There's a lot of networks where, like if you go to Starbucks and you get on their Wi-Fi, you can't find any other devices on that Wi-Fi network. Like in your office or in your home, let's say you have a printer on the network, you can find that through Bonjour. You can find the printer by name and send a job to it. But on public networks, as we talked about earlier, they have MDNS disabled. So there's no discovery. And so now there's a way around it. You can, depending on what kind of a switch you're using, you can create subnets, and you can create the ability for a pool of IP addresses to be visible to people on a guest network, let's say. That's complicated, and you have to have the right hardware. Here's a simple solution. Buy a $20 router, call it the guest router, put it in the environment, connect all the KLIK devices to that router, give it a connection so it's got Wi-Fi, it's got internet access, and whenever people come in and they want to make a presentation, say, oh, just connect to the guest router. $20 solution. I mean, that's nothing when they're spending $149 for the stick, $249, $349, $649. It's a $20 solution, and it takes 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes to configure. So stuff like that, never let the roadblocks stop you, because we do have solutions for it. And it may be non-conventional, but sure is easy and cheap.
Sure. Anyone, any other questions for Costa, guys?
Yeah, so just going back to this click stick deal here, if I did not care about the WAN or connecting to the internet, and I just want to do a local demonstration with the click stick to, I have a router that I can connect to that has, again, we're not worried about the outside world. I just LAN connection so that I could show the wireless capabilities. So I got the click stick to my router connected to nothing except the click stick, which is connected to my laptop.
Yep.
Or said vehicle that I'm connected, that if I had other devices connected to this Wi-Fi to showcase, at that point it would work fine. There's just no Ethernet or web ability at this point.
Well, the only time there's, okay, so because you said two things there. One is that it was connected to your network, right?
No, so
Oh.
so for example, a lot of times when we're out demoing, we have kind of, I'll use your white router there. We have something like that so we can locally show apps and interaction. So
right.
The thought there was if we wanted to show, as you started the presentation there, in the different GUIs, to at least showcase some of that, or just show the capabilities of how it looks, to Vance's question on how do we share files, how do we do this? And again, so we're setting it up where, hey, I'm going to show you the sharing files, all this stuff, understanding that we're removing the web aspect of being able to do some of the YouTube and other things that are out there. It would still function in that capacity.
Absolutely, yes, correct, yes.
Okay.
The only thing that you're missing is if you don't have this Ethernet connection, you don't have this WAN connection, and then you don't have internet access. But otherwise, the stick is completely agnostic to whether or not you have internet access. It doesn't affect the stick at all, or any of the models, and it only affects your laptop.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, if you've got your PowerPoint presentation on your laptop and, you want to demonstrate that, great. But if you wanted to pull up a website, nah, not so great. But again, every place that has a Wi-Fi router has a jack that you can plug into. May not be convenient, but worst case scenario, you could have if I'm going to go out someplace to do a demo, I'll take a 25-foot Ethernet cable, and I can then plug the demo kit in with my 25-foot Ethernet cable, regardless of where the router is, almost.
Understood.
Cool. There's more to learn about KLIK, and the more details about the setup. I mean, I showed you the wizard and I showed you the KLIK manager. There are two additional ways that you can get into the KLIK for setup purposes, and one involves an on-screen display. The other one involves web pages. But it's too much for one session, and I'm going to make the suggestion that that's probably the last in the series of things that you want or need to learn about KLIK. Probably the most important things that you need to learn about KLIK are things like it has to connect to a network. Doesn't magically appear someplace. It allows you to the stick Plus and Pro all do the same thing. It's just different hardware I/O primarily, but hardware. The two models have the remote control in addition to the I/O. You need to know that you can stream without using an app. You can use Miracast that's built into Windows and Android, or you can use AirPlay. But that if you don't use the app, you miss out on a bunch of features. Some people, like I said, that small mixed-use warehouse office guy with one projector, and maybe he doesn't care about those features. Maybe they're not having big formal things and exchanging files and annotation. Maybe they just want to be able to accommodate anybody. That's fine. Our products do all of those things. So one of these days I'm going to get around to creating a bunch of stick figures to show by application which products work for, and not only which products, but which configurations. Product and configuration works for which customer, and
Sure.
when as you're going through this, you're going to find out that's the best and the easiest way to determine which configuration and which product is going to be the right thing for anyone.
Sure. No, I think this is a lot of great info. Costa, I really appreciate it. I think we have enough to whet our appetite, so to speak. Team, the next steps for you guys. Again, we're targeting 6 items. So between now and our team call next Monday, I expect you guys to dig into the 6 items. All these PDFs that Costa has on the Zoom link.
Oops.
You can easily get those off of KLIK's website. I'd suggest download them to your laptop, tablet, phone, what have you. Review them because we're, as a team, going to do a review on next Monday's call. Costa, if you can send me the PowerPoint, I will get that loaded into our company's OneDrive so that you guys will have access to this info. And, again, while if anything comes up between now and the end of April, let's ensure you're reaching out to Costa because, again, we're hoping that come May 1st that we have enough number one, we're able to get back to normal or as close to normal as possible. And we want you guys hitting the ground running and go ahead and start targeting dealers on both sides of our business because I think this is great for all aspects. Security guys are in schools, hospitals, doing security work. Now this is a new solution that they could present, and then obviously AV integrators that are in their outfitting offices. This is another great solution that we can provide, that those types of integrators can provide to their clients. So that's what led Austin and I to wanting to get on board with KLIK. And based off the structure and organization and our team, Costa, is investing in AWA to help move this forward. So we need to ensure we do our due diligence to take this to the next step. So with that, does anyone have anything else?
I'd like to add one thing.
Sure.
And that is, and I'll send you some more information on it, but just to mention here, when you have a dealer, someone who wants to be set up as a dealer, all you need to do is send us the name of the company, the name of the, I think we just ran out of time. If you're watching on YouTube, we need the name of the company, the name of the principal, the individual that's going to be, the main contact person, their email address, and which state they're in. I don't need the address, etc. They can enter all that themselves when they get to the checkout. But all I need is the state so I can assign it to the right territory so it automatically generates the commissions accordingly, state by state. I'm sure you got it broken down that way. And the email address and the name of the person and the dealer. And then what will happen is they'll get an email saying, and whoever sends it in will be copied on that email. They'll get an email saying that their account has been set up and their discount has been switched on. So then they can go in and place their orders and get the appropriate dealer discount. And that also means that they don't share their credit card information with us. We don't take any of that payment information. It goes all through the payment processing service that we use. And the other thing is all freight is free. And you're in the Midwest, so it's usually 2 days. So we ship it not by UPS ground, it'll take 5 or thereabouts, but USPS, priority mail, and it should be there between 2 and 3 days. And usually in the Midwest, 2 days. And that's it. Thank you for joining. I'm going to sign off now, and we will see you next time. Bye.